I braked sharply and my bus lurched forward, the screech of tires cutting through the morning air. Passengers screamed as their coffee cups flew from their hands, hot liquids splashing across seats and laps. A briefcase slammed into the partition. Someone's breakfast sandwich hit the floor with a wet splat. "What the hell, lady?" a man in a suit shouted, his white shirt now stained brown. "Are you trying to kill us?" Another voice rang out. My hands were locked on the wheel, knuckles white. The GPS screen in front of me showed a route I'd never seen before, a route that had just sent me careening toward a construction zone that wasn't supposed to be there. Barricades, orange cones, workers jumping out of the way. This wasn't my route. This wasn't even close to my route. I'd driven the same streets for 15 years. I knew every pothole, every traffic light, every place where pedestrians jaywalked without looking. But somehow, this morning, my route had been changed, and nobody had told me. "I'm so sorry," I called back, my voice shaking. "There's been a mistake with—" The radio crackled to life, cutting me off. "Enjoy your morning. Remember, I'm always watching." That voice, cold, smug, satisfied. David, my ex-husband, the dispatcher, the man who'd promised to make my life hell after I'd finally stood up to him in court. My stomach twisted. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. I pulled over, hazard lights flashing, and turned to face a bus full of furious passengers. A woman was crying, coffee dripping from her blazer. A teenager's phone had cracked against the floor. An elderly man clutched his chest, breathing hard. "Everyone, please, I apologize," I said, standing up, trying to project calm while my heart hammered. "There's been a serious error with my routing system. I'm going to call dispatch right now and—" "We don't want excuses," the man in the suit shouted. "We want to get to work. I've got a meeting in 20 minutes. "I've already missed my connection," someone else added. "This is ridiculous." My phone buzzed. A text from Gavin, my son. "Mom, are you okay? Getting reports that your bus is stuck near the waterfront construction. That's nowhere near your route." My hands trembled as I typed back, "It's your father." He changed my route without telling me. The reply came instantly. "What?" I looked up at the passengers, their angry faces, their ruined mornings. 15 years of perfect service. 15 years of 5-star reviews, commendations, thank you cards taped to my locker. All of it about to crumble because of one man's vindictive game. The radio crackled again. "Bus 47, why are you stopped? Get moving or file an incident report." David's voice, playing innocent now, playing the concerned supervisor. I grabbed the radio, my voice steady, despite the rage building inside me. "Bus 47 to dispatch. I need to speak with you immediately about routing discrepancies." "No discrepancies on my end. You're following the route assigned to you this morning." "That's a lie." Silence. Then, quieter, almost a whisper. "Prove it." The line went dead. I turned back to my passengers, dozens of eyes watching me, judging me. In the back, someone was already on their phone. "Yeah, I'm calling Channel 7. You won't believe what just happened on the 47 bus." This was it. The moment David had been planning. The moment he'd engineered to destroy me. But he'd forgotten something crucial about me. Something he'd learned during our marriage but had apparently chosen to ignore. I don't break. I fight. I picked up the radio again. "All passengers, I'm going to get you to your destinations safely. I apologize for this disruption. It won't happen again." As I restarted the engine and carefully backed away from the construction zone, I pulled out my phone with one hand and hit record on the voice memo app. Every word, every radio transmission, every piece of evidence. David thought he knew the root of my life. He thought he could derail me with a few keystrokes and a smug voice over the radio. He had no idea what was coming. The game had just begun, and this time, I'd make sure everyone saw exactly who was driving this disaster. My phone buzzed again. "Gavin. I'm pulling dispatch logs right now. We're going to bury him, Mom." I smiled grimly, merging back into traffic as passengers continued their angry chatter behind me. "Oh, David," I whispered, "you should have left me alone." I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those passengers' faces, furious, disgusted, filming me with their phones like I was some viral disaster waiting to happen. And David's voice dripping with fake concern over the radio. Prove it. Oh, I'd prove it all right. Gavin showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m. with his laptop and 2 large coffees. My son inherited my stubbornness, thank God, but he got his tech skills from somewhere else entirely. Maybe his generation just breathed coding and data analysis. Okay, Mom, he said, spreading papers across my kitchen table. I pulled everything I could access from the employee portal. Look at this. He showed me a spreadsheet of my route assignments for the past month, color-coded, highlighted, and damning. See these dates? He pointed. Every single Monday and Friday for 3 weeks, your route gets updated at 5:47 a.m. That's 13 minutes before you clock in. So I never see the changes, I whispered. Exactly. And look who approved every single modification. He turned the laptop toward me. David Morrison, dispatch supervisor, his digital signature on every form. My hands shook as I scrolled through the documents. But why these specific days? That's what I thought too, so I cross-referenced with your custody agreement from the divorce. Gavin pulled out another paper, and my chest tightened. Mondays and Fridays were your days with me, the days he resented most. The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. Of course it was about that. Everything with David always came back to control, to punishment for daring to win custody, for daring to leave him. There's more, Gavin said quietly. I checked the passenger complaint database. Someone's been filing anonymous complaints about you. Same IP address, over and over. Let me guess. Traced back to a desktop computer in the dispatch office, his station. I stood up, pacing my tiny kitchen. So he's been changing my routes to set me up for failure, then filing fake complaints to build a case against me. How long has this been going on? 3 months, maybe more. That's as far back as I could access without raising flags. 3 months. 90 days of systematic sabotage, and I'd been too focused on just getting through each shift to notice the pattern. Too busy being the perfect employee, the perfect mother, the perfect everything to see that someone was building a trap around me. We need more than spreadsheets and IP addresses, I said. We need proof that he's actively sabotaging me in real time. What are you thinking? I smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. I'm thinking tomorrow morning, we give him exactly what he wants. We let him think he's winning. Gavin leaned forward. What do you need me to do? Can you access the dispatch system remotely? Monitor any changes he makes to my route in real time? Mom, that's... He stopped, looked at me, nodded slowly. Yeah, I can do that. I'll screen record everything. Good, because tomorrow I'm going to drive his route perfectly. Every single stop exactly on time, no matter what he throws at me. And I'm going to document every single deviation he tries to make. What if he tries something worse? I thought about 15 years of perfect service that I refuse to let one bitter man destroy. Then we'll catch that too. Gavin packed up his laptop, but hesitated at the door. Mom, what he's doing? It's illegal, right? Like, seriously illegal? Tampering with public transportation systems? Falsifying company records? Creating unsafe conditions for passengers? I met his eyes. Yeah, baby. It's serious. Good. His jaw set in that stubborn way that reminded me of myself. Because he's not getting away with this. After he left, I pulled out my uniform for the next day. Pressed it carefully, polished my badge. I'd drive that route like my life depended on it. Because maybe it did. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Heard you had a rough day yesterday. Shame when good drivers lose their edge. David, taunting me from a burner phone. I typed back, see you tomorrow. His response came immediately. Looking forward to it. The next morning, I walked into the depot like I was walking into battle. David was at the dispatch desk, coffee in hand, that smug smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He saw me, and his grin widened. Morning, he said, loud enough for the other drivers to hear. Hope today goes smoother for you. I didn't respond, just signed in, grabbed my route sheet, and headed for my bus. Gavin texted, I'm in, watching the system now. Your route looks clean so far. Give it time, I replied. I started my route at exactly 6:47 a.m. Every stop, precisely on schedule. My passengers boarded without incident. Morning regulars who knew me, who'd ridden with me for years. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. At 7:23, my radio crackled. Bus 47, we need you to add an unscheduled stop at Riverside and 5th. David's voice. Casual, professional. That's 3 miles off route, I said calmly. Passenger emergency pickup. It's been called in. Gavin texted immediately. There's no emergency pickup in the system. He just made that up. I smiled. Copy that, dispatch. I documented everything. When I arrived at Riverside and 5th, no one was waiting. Dispatch. No passenger at designated location. Silence. Then, must have caught another bus. Resume route. 15 minutes behind schedule now. Passengers were checking their watches, pulling out phones. At my next stop, an older man got on. Someone I'd never seen before. He took a seat right behind me, too alert, too focused. Excuse me, driver. You seem distracted. Missing stops. Running late. I met his eyes in the rearview mirror. All stops have been made on schedule, sir. Just seems pretty erratic to me. I'll be filing a complaint. A plant. David had put someone on my bus. Gavin texted, Mom, your route just changed again. 2 more detours. The radio crackled. Bus 47, construction on your route. Detour via Hamilton Street. There's no construction. Are you questioning dispatch? Every driver could hear this. David was making a show of it. Hamilton Street, now. I took the detour. Another 15 minutes lost. More angry passengers. The man behind me was taking notes. When I pulled into the depot for my break, a crowd was waiting. My supervisor, Janet, 2 union reps, and David leaning against the wall with that satisfied smirk. We need to talk, Janet said. The office felt like an interrogation chamber. Multiple complaints about your performance, Janet said, sliding papers across the desk. Plus, yesterday's incident. This is becoming a pattern. Those complaints are fabricated, I said. The detours were ordered by dispatch. Dispatch has no record of ordering detours, David said smoothly. The radio logs show you deviated without authorization. My blood went cold. That's a lie. Are you calling me a liar? He pulled out papers. Here's the passenger complaint from this morning. Mr. Walsh witnessed your erratic driving firsthand. The plant. This is ridiculous, I said, looking at Janet. 15 years, I've never... Until now, David interrupted. Maybe you need time off. Medical leave. Get your head straight. There it was. The trap. Admit mental instability or keep driving and rack up more manufactured incidents. I don't need medical leave, Janet sighed. We'll be reviewing everything, but until then, you're suspended. Pending investigation. What? Standard procedure when there are safety concerns. I stood up. This isn't over. Actually, David said, I think it is. I walked out with my head high. Gavin was waiting in the parking lot, his face pale. Mom, they can't. They can, and they did. Before I could say more, my phone rang. Sarah, the veteran driver. You need to meet me, she said. Tonight, there are others ready to talk. Sarah, if you help me, David will... Let him try. Jerry's Diner, 7 p.m. You'll want to hear what Tommy from maintenance has to say. She hung up. I looked at Gavin. We're not done yet. But as we drove away, I saw David in my rearview mirror, phone to ear, watching us leave. He wasn't finished either. Jerry's Diner was packed, but Sarah had claimed the back corner booth. She wasn't alone. Tommy from maintenance sat across from her, calloused hands wrapped around coffee. Next to him was Jessica from the evening shift, eyes red from crying. And at the end, a young woman with a messenger bag. This is Rachel, Sarah said as we slid in. Administrative office. She processes route changes and complaints. Rachel looked terrified. I could lose my job. Tell her, Sarah said. Tommy cleared his throat. David came to me 2 weeks ago, wanted me to write up a false maintenance report on your bus. Document brake irregularities that don't exist. He met my eyes. When I refused, he reminded me about a parking lot fender bender from 6 months ago, said maybe it should be revisited. Blackmail, I said. My next 3 paychecks were short. Administrative errors. Tommy's jaw clenched. Still haven't been made whole. Jessica spoke quietly. He wanted me to say I'd seen you drinking before shifts. When I refused, suddenly I'm being written up for violations I didn't commit. He's targeting anyone who won't play along, Sarah said. Rachel pulled out a folder with shaking hands. I process all routing changes. She opened it, revealing dozens of documents. These are David's modifications for you, every Monday and Friday for 3 months. We know about those, Gavin said. But not these. She pulled out another stack. Route changes he submitted then deleted, the ones that never made it into official records. My heart pounded. He's been erasing evidence. Replacing it. Look. She laid out 2 documents. This is what he submitted Monday, the route that sent you into construction. And this is what's in the system now, makes you look incompetent instead of sabotaged. How? Supervisor access. He can modify records after the fact. I keep backup copies, against policy, but my dad taught me to cover myself. She looked at me fiercely. He's done this to other drivers too. Why hasn't anyone reported it? I asked. Tommy laughed bitterly. To who? The depot manager's his golfing buddy. HR shares an office with dispatch. David's been here 12 years. He knows how to work the system. So what do we do? Gavin asked. Safety board inspection Thursday, Sarah said. Regional directors, union officials, city transportation authority, they review everything. David will hide the evidence, I said. Not if we give them the originals first. Rachel pushed the folder toward me. I have everything. Every real route change, every deleted record, every falsified complaint. Time-stamped with his signature. They'll destroy you, I said. My little sister starts riding the bus to high school next month. I'm not letting him control her safety. Jessica nodded. I'll testify about the coercion. Me too, Tommy said. 3 other maintenance guys will back me up. Sarah pulled out her phone. I've been recording everything. Not legal to record without consent here, but it's admissible in employment hearings. I looked at these brave people risking everything. Thursday, 3 days, I said. We get this to the safety board before David knows. I'll file a formal complaint tomorrow, Sarah said. Emergency review, they'll have to preserve all records. Gavin opened his laptop. I'll compile everything. Make it impossible to ignore. What about David? Jessica asked. When he finds out? The diner door opened. David walked in, scanning the room. His eyes landed on our booth, and his expression turned to rage. He started toward us. Don't say anything, Sarah hissed. David reached our table. Well, what's this? A support group? We're having coffee, Sarah said evenly. Looks more like a conspiracy. His eyes swept over Rachel's folder, Gavin's laptop, the scattered papers. You know what's sad? Watching people destroy their careers because they believed some unhinged woman's paranoid delusions. Walk away, David, I said. Or what? He laughed. Who's going to believe a suspended driver, a maintenance guy with a discipline record, a clerk stealing company documents, and a driver who everyone knows hates management? He'd built cases against all of them. See you Thursday, he said, voice cold and vicious. At the inspection, where I'll present my own evidence about negligent drivers and employees who violate policy. He looked at Rachel. I'd update your resume. He walked out. He knows, Jessica whispered. Good, Sarah said, though her hand shook. Let him panic. Panicked people make mistakes. But watching David through the window, getting into his car with that confident stride, I wasn't sure who was panicking, and I wasn't sure who was about to make the fatal mistake. Thursday morning arrived like Judgment Day. The safety board convened at 9 a.m. in the depot's main conference room. Regional directors in suits, union officials with briefcases, city transportation authority representatives, and us, sitting in the hallway with our folder of evidence, waiting to be called. David walked past without looking at us, but I saw his jaw clench. At 9:47, they called us in. We laid it all out. Rachel's documents showing the deleted route changes, Tommy's testimony about coercion, Jessica's account of blackmail, Sarah's recordings, Gavin's compiled evidence with timestamps that made the pattern undeniable. The board members' faces went from skeptical to shocked to furious. Mr. Morrison, the lead investigator said, can you explain these discrepancies? I watched David try. Watched him scramble, deflect, blame. But there were too many witnesses, too much documentation, too many pieces that fit together perfectly. At 11:23 a.m., they suspended him pending criminal investigation. At 11:45, they reinstated me with back pay and a formal apology. At 12:10, David was escorted out of the building by security. He looked at me once as they walked him past. Not angry anymore. Just empty. Was it worth it? I asked quietly. He didn't answer. 2 months later, I'm back on Route 47. Same streets, same stops, same passengers who welcomed me back with coffee and smiles. David took a plea deal, falsifying records, endangering public safety, workplace harassment. He won't work in transportation again. Gavin starts his new job next week, IT security for the Transit Authority. Making sure no one else can manipulate the system, he says. Sarah retired last month with a commendation for integrity. Rachel got promoted, Tommy got his back pay, Jessica transferred to a better shift. And me? I drive my route every morning, knowing that sometimes the people who know you best are the ones who try to derail you. But here's the thing about buses and life. You can reroute someone temporarily, cause delays, create chaos, but you can't stop someone who knows their route by heart. So what about you? Has someone ever tried to sabotage your success? Someone close who knew exactly where to strike? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear it. And if this story hit home, hit that subscribe button, then click the video on screen now to watch another thrilling story.